Hi there, let's learn how to play White Christmas. We're going to play this one in the key of G, and I'll guide you through the chords that you need as we go along. Because there's basically one verse that then repeats with a slightly different ending, and that's kind of the whole gist of the song. So we're going to start the first line with what I like to call our classic doo-wop progression. In the key of G, it's going to be G to E minor, to C, to D7. Now, when you go from G to E minor, remember G, you've got your index and your middle here on the second fret of C and A, respectively. Ring fingers in the middle on the third fret of E. There's my G chord. Now you have two options for going to E minor. I think the easiest, like long-term easiest way to get there is to leave this shape, reach your pinky over to the fourth fret of the C string. So you're kind of canceling out what your index finger is doing, but you don't need to take that off because, again, it's canceling out what your index finger is doing there. And that gives you your E minor chord. There's just one note difference between those two chords. It's kind of fun, right? It's just one movement. However, as we know, the pinky is perhaps the most obstinate finger of all of them. And so if that feels a little bit too difficult, you can rearrange your fingers. The traditional shape for E minor is what I call sort of a stair-step shape. Index on the first fret of A, middle on the second fret of E, and ring is on the fourth fret of C there. So you could play it like that too if you want to jumble your fingers around. I leave it up to you. I'm going to do the pinky trick, as I like to call it, so you'll see me doing that in this video. Again, after that E minor, we're going to go to C, so I'm going to bring my ring finger back to the third fret of A. And D7, I play with my middle and my ring on the second fret of G and E, respectively. I know there are a couple ways to play it, but I like to play it that way. That's our first line. One bar of each. G, E minor, C, and D7. Then we're going to do sort of a half circle back to C, through D7, back around to G. That's my second line. So nice after that little E minor hiccup in there. The third line I call it the Saints progression because you'll hear it in When the Saints Go Marching In. The G chord to G7 to C, and now we're going to add in another chord, C minor. What I've done is left my ring finger there, and I'm going to add my index and my middle here to the third fret of C and E, respectively. You can also play it as a bar if you like. Just make sure you leave that G open. And then we close it with another round of the doo-wop. G to E minor to C to D7. Let's just try that much. Those first four lines, and then a lot of that is going to repeat in the second half of the song. I like to play it with a little swing strum. Just the chords to start. Like this. We'll play G, E minor, to C, D7, back to C, circle around, D7, back to G. Here comes the Saints progression, so we start on G, G7, to C, C minor, and then the doo-wop again. E minor, C, D7, all again. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. Pause there. That's our first half of the song. The second is going to follow the same progression. Doo-wop, then that's sort of half a circle, C, D7, back to G. Then the Saints progression again, G, G7, C, C minor, but the last line is the difference here. We go back to G, and then we're going to split the bar, 2 beats of C, 2 beats of D7, around to G for 2, right? So it's four bars at the end, 1 bar of G, 1 split bar between C and D7, and then 2 more bars of G at the end. All right, let's add that in. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. We're in the second half here. With every Christmas card I write, may your days be merry and bright. Here's the difference. G, and may all split the bar, your Christmases be white. Try that one again. And may all your Christmases be white. There we go. So we've got those 2 halves. Again, very similar with the exception of the last line for each. When we get to the play along, we'll kind of play through it once, play through the chords once just for a little instrumental, sing through it again, and then there's an outro at the end that I always like to throw in there because I love the Drifters version of this song. I'm borrowing this from them. We're going to go back to that Saints progression. May your days, may your days, may your days be merry and bright. Hold that C minor. And then it'll be the same as the last line of the second verse, or the second time through the verse. It'll be a bar of G, then split C, D7, back to G. And may all your Christmases be white. That's how we'll end it. All right, so same chords, but just a little bit of difference with the lyrics and kind of really slowing down that tempo, kind of falling out of rhythm there. Okay? Feel free to review anything you need to here. Practice it a bunch on your own. When you're ready, you can join me for the play along. Enjoy.